Once a cop, let it knock, yeah. I for one thing we should celebrate redemption instead of condemning it. Corey Pegues, what up? Talking truth, bro.
Welcome to Corey's Corner. Today, I'm doing something different. I'm doing an update on the previous segment. We did a segment a few weeks ago about a scandal in the NYPD. But before we go into that, I must shout out sponsor for today's show, Vodka.
This is not your average vodka. This is Vodka, a decade of cultured excellence. The best of both worlds. The true taste of victory. A delicious dyad spirit. The world's finest blend of vodka and tequila. Vodka, the perfect blend. From rooftop parties to quiet moments with friends, Vodka brings the flavor, the fire, and the unforgettable. So pour it, share it, live it. Vodka. Visit vodka.net and order yours today.
A wonderful blend of tequila and vodka. Black-owned business. Shout out to my man Ant for sponsoring the show. Make sure you go support. Just Google it. It's all over the place. It's good tequila. So let's talk about it. A few weeks ago, all over the news, headlines everywhere, that the NYPD has a scandal that 31 officers were put into the police academy. Some already graduated. They're on the street. They're making arrests, but they wasn't properly vetted psychologically. They blasted a young inspector, Terrell Anderson, put him all over the newspaper that he was the person that did this. Yes, he actually was the person that pushed him through the academy, but it's been going on for a very long time. I actually spoke to a couple of commanders that sat in the same seat as Terrell, and they all told me they had discretion. And those 31 officers were asked to resign. They refused to resign. They went to the PBA, the Police Benevolent Association, got lawyers. They went to court. The judge put an injunction in, told them to keep them on the job, and they gave them another court date that's down the line. And I'm more than confident that no judge or no jury is going to ask those people to resign because they actually went through the proper vetting process. What Terrell was doing was getting the evaluation from the psychological services. That's what the unit is called. But what people don't know is, even if a psychologist says that someone is unfit to be a cop, as per state statute, it's still up to the NYPD to make the decision. The reporters didn't put that in the newspaper. They just said that this young inspector, he overruled the psychologist on 31 different matters. As a matter of fact, I think it was 80 out of 6,700 people I think he put through the academy. When you do the math, I'm not a mathematician, but I think that's less than 1% when you're doing the math. I ain't do so good at math, but test me on that. I think 80 out of 6,700, it's probably about 1% or a little bit less than that. So today, lo and behold, City and State, which is a major publication in New York City in the political realm, they did an extensive investigation and they came out with a scathing report that showed that this is not a Terrell Anderson scandal. This is an NYPD scandal. Over the last 12 years, they have over 75 psychologists. Like 40 of them weren't even licensed. They even had one who was practicing on a permit for 6 years without even being licensed. Now they have a ratio of one licensed psychologist to 5 that has either a permit or they have a license, but they just started. That's the ratio, which actually, with the numerous candidates that's coming through, that ratio doesn't even work. They're so overworked at this time that the licensed psychologists are doing caseloads. Let's just say the licensed psychologist has a caseload of 25, and the 5 people that he or she is supervising, they all have 25. That's 150, right? That's 5 plus 25 plus his 25. There's not even enough supervision for them to supervise these college grads that's coming out of college. People don't know that. Most of these people that's doing the psychological evaluations are young students or recent grads from graduate school or undergrad with a psychology degree, and they're working in the NYPD and they're trying to get their life right. Fine, no problem. But they're making serious decisions, lifelong decisions for people. Think about it. We probably in New York City Police Department have thousands of cops that has not been vetted properly. Meaning the state statute actually says that you have to be vetted by a licensed psychologist. We have people that got permits making decisions. We have people that just got their license making decisions. So what they do, they're supervised by a licensed psychologist. They interview the person, come to the licensed psychologist and talk to them and say, hey, well, Joe Blow, I don't believe he's qualified. And the psychologist will say, okay, we take the recommendation. But even with that recommendation, when you bring it back to the candidate assessment unit, of which Terrell Anderson was in charge, the NYPD still gets to make the decision. They're not the end all be all. It's just a recommendation. And that's state statute that you can look up. So where are we at now? Now I'm looking at Mr. 100 Blacks in Law Enforcement, the mayor of New York City, Eric Adams, who's been sitting by idly, not saying anything. He does everything, and he's out there smoking cigars, drinking Hennessy. This is orange juice. He's smoking cigars, drinking Hennessy at barbershops 1 o'clock in the morning.
This is my natural element. I'm not uncomfortable walking around my people. This is who I am. You go check me out 1 a.m. in the morning. I'm sitting in the back of a closed barbershop or beauty salon, smoking a cigar and drinking some Henny or a single malt scotch. That's who I am.
He's allowing the police commissioner, Tish, to transfer this young guy. As a matter of fact, let me give you some context with this. He was the commanding officer of the 73rd Precinct in Brownsville, New York. One of the most violent, in my opinion, I think it's the most violent place in New York City, only because it's 1.2 square miles and it has 12 different housing developments in it. Probably the most violent housing developments in New York City, if not the country. The last 3 commanders before him was Jeff Madry, Freaky Jeff Madry, the chief of department. He had 4 stars. You had Miguel Iglesias, who was actually asked to resign. He had 3 stars. He was the chief of internal affairs. And now Chief Galata, he's the 3-star chief of transit. And then you have Terrell Anderson, who's only an inspector. The math don't fit. It's like a circle putting it to a square. Like, why are they screwing him? I know what this is all about. This is all about Freaky Jeff Madry, John Shell, who's the now chief of department, and the young boy clown, Kaz Doherty. Those guys don't like Terrell Anderson because when Jeff Freaky Madry was the commanding officer of community affairs, a cop that worked for him went to the 73rd Precinct, chased 2 young black guys in the street with a gun. Jeff came up to the scene and basically got rid of the arrest. Well, CCRB put out a scathing report and said that he was wrong for allowing that cop to get off. Terrell was the commanding officer at the time, so they don't like him. But it's not right. Like, we have to do what's right. The main issue right now is NYPD has opened themselves up to serious litigation. I see lawyer Eric Sanders is on it. Eric Sanders is a pit bull. They will have class action lawsuits because now what you're looking at is you got all of these cops that's out here that might not have been properly vetted psychologically. If I'm a defense attorney and somebody I know got arrested, the first thing I'm going to be asking is, who put this kid on the job? How was he evaluated? Who was he evaluated by? Was it a licensed psychologist? Was somebody with a permit? Was it somebody working as a psychologist? They just opened themselves up to a whole litany of lawsuits. And Mr. 100 Blacks in Law Enforcement, Eric Adams, the mayor of New York City, who was a captain in the police department, who was out there fighting for minority rights, is standing by idle. He's drinking, he's smoking, and just standing by while this young inspector career is in the rafters. I want to know what you're doing. Eric Adams, we got the bullseye on you. You only got a couple of more months. He's not looking good anyway. But the least you could do on your way out the door is take care Inspector Terrell Anderson in the NYPD. That's the least you could do because you don't have a chance in hell to win. I'm Corey Pegues. I always keep it right now, real. Peace.
Once a cop, let it knock, yeah. For one thing, we should celebrate redemption instead of condemning it. Corey Pegues, what up? Talking truth, bruh. Check it out.